Good evening, my friends. We've got Wednesday evening. Welcome to the Supreme Biker podcast. I'm going to be covering different topics here like I used to be. Now it will be more frequent on Wednesdays. Training, of course, bikes and components, just pretty much anything you will ask me about. And tonight I'm going to answer some of the questions you've asked me through the Instagram story where I let you submit some questions. And tonight, just a couple of those interesting ones, in my opinion. Number one. What type of budget or entry-level winter clothing do you recommend for cycling? I would say, especially if it comes to really saving money, it's not about the brand, it's more about how you clothe yourself. I mean, what you wear, what you put in different layers on your body. In terms of the brands, Europe, for example, if you know the brand Rogelli, R-O-G-E-L-L-I, it's something I had been buying. It was okay. Just the sizing was way too much for me. Like even I'm 6 foot tall, 182 centimeters. Medium would rarely fit me. So just check that out. If you know the stores Decathlon, I think they do sell some decent clothing, but it's more about how you clothe yourself. So today, just a couple of tips. Number one, my way of clothing myself when it's now, let's say, between -5 up to plus, I don't know what, 7-8 degrees Celsius, is do not put just a few thick layers on your body, wear more thin layers on your body. Let me explain that. You need some kind of base layer, and then over the base layer you're gonna put different types of jackets, if you will, according to the speed on your bike. This is very important, and of course the temperature. What I'm wearing right now, most of my clothing now is from Sportful, which is not budget. But if you don't have it, just hear me out. I'm wearing the base layer. The base layer from Sportful isn't very expensive and it is amazing. I can recommend you that 110%. It takes the sweat off your body, and that's what really counts when you are riding in the winter, because if your skin is wet, you will get cold when you speed up down the hill. Up the hill it's okay, you can sweat, but down the hill you're gonna freeze. So you wanna have your sweat off your skin. That's what the base layer does. If you don't have the money for such a base layer, which would be around $50, you just don't wear any cotton shirts. That's a mistake, because the cotton shirt will keep the water, will soak up the water, the sweat. You simply wear a short sleeve regular cycling jersey. So just have the jersey, because I'm putting the jersey over my base layer. If you don't have it, that's fine. Just have short sleeve jersey, and then over the short sleeve jersey, because nobody will ride in the short sleeve jersey in such temperature, you put long sleeve jersey. So short sleeve jersey and then long sleeve jersey over it might be okay for cyclocross racing if you have over 0 Celsius. So if it's not a freezing temperature, it might be okay after the warm-up. For regular riding you need more layers. So short sleeve jersey and then long sleeve jersey, but make sure it's long sleeve jersey, not a jacket. So it has to be pretty tight, because you want to feel comfortable putting more layers on it. So I have short sleeve jersey, long sleeve jersey, and then over long sleeve jersey I'm wearing a jersey which is not that tight over my body, and it keeps warmth also very, very well. And then having those 3 layers, short, long, I can put very thin, like wind stopping. It doesn't have to be wind stopper. Wind stopper is an expensive matter. Something that stops the wind over those 3 layers, and for just around like 0 till 5 degrees Celsius, it will be just fine. If it's very cold, I'm wearing my base layer, short sleeve jersey, or usually when I have base layer, I'm just putting long sleeve jersey over the base layer, and then the jersey, and then a jacket, because my jacket is thick and it stops the wind pretty much, and that's cool. The problem is that the jackets, like a proper winter jacket for cycling, will be the most expensive part. Of course, and your beep shirt, but we're talking about the upper body, will be the most expensive part. It is expensive. If you don't have money for the jacket, just have those thinner jerseys, but more layers. It will be fine. You just need to have the right. You need to have the right order from your skin. And so, as the layer which is okay, just make sure that you don't put any wind-stopping layer. Okay. Just make sure that the wind-stopping or waterproof also layer is the last layer, the outer layer. Because if you put like two wind-stopping layers, the one that will be under the other one will also stop your whole clothing from breathing, and you will sweat more. So everything that you put on your body should be as breathable as possible, and then the wind-stopping layer as the outer layer. So more layers, it will be warmer for you. And of course, when you put many layers, just remember about the zippers, because when they collect here, it's gonna be just too thick, too many zippers, and it will just wrap against your skin. So I'm not zipping those base layers all the way, just a little bit lower, and then maybe the last one, the most outer or the second outer, I would zip all the way up, and that's fine. And then as for the shorts, of course we need long shorts, but the problem is I have none of the shorts that have additional material or layer of material around the knees. And this is very bad. When I did my 417 kilometers ride, the video was uploaded like last week, I think. It was way too cold for my knees. The knees will start hurting you, and you will think, okay, this is because I've been riding so long, or just maybe a position on the bike isn't really good. The problem is you don't feel cold on your knees until they start to ache, and that's wrong. So what I'm doing right now, I'm taking my bandanas, putting those over my knees, and then wearing the shorts over them. And of course, the shoes. I bought winter shoes just before that long trip, and these were the first proper winter shoes, cycling shoes in my life. There is a huge difference between having such a shoes and the summer shoes, but make sure you have. Doesn't matter what shoes you've got, they cannot be tight. The size must be maybe even one size too large for the feet for the winter, and then the shoe warmer. It will be way better. What I would do, I would buy one size too big, even some cheap shoes. They might be like summer shoes, and then put additional inner sole, but temperature, how is it called? Insulating, and then the warmers. So the cold from your cleats will not get through the sole too quick, because it will when it's like minus 10 degrees and you're riding for 4 hours. It will, but not that quick with the additional inner sole, and then the warmer. You will be fine. You'll be fine riding for many hours. And of course, the gloves, you need proper gloves. just the thicker the better for lower temperatures. So that's pretty much it. It doesn't have to be fancy stuff. You need to think about what you're wearing, which layer will stop the wind, and then when the wind stops on the first layer, then the second, third, and finally the base layer don't have to be expensive materials. But don't use cotton. So that's it. Question number 2 was about how to teach a grown-up riding a bike. That's the interesting one. I've never thought of it. I've never been asked that question, but yeah, there might be some people who don't know how to ride the bike. And then I thought, it is just so good that our children now, they have those balancing bicycles with no crankset, with no pedals. 2 very important factors. There is no pedals in the way of your feet. When you try to balance, you need to support yourself on the ground when you haven't yet learned how to ride a bicycle. And second, the seat is much lower, so that those small people, children who learn, they can simply, sitting on the saddle, also stand on the ground. And that's super important. And then I thought, if a grown-up wants to learn it, of course there is no such bikes for grown-ups, but what you can do is 2 things. Lower the saddle so that he or she will be able to touch easily the ground with the feet, and remove the pedals. No pedals will be in the way. It won't be difficult then to just start kind of riding and balancing. That's what you need to do, and then the pedaling will come naturally. Then I thought about the times when I was learning the bike, to bike. I'm 39 years old now, so it might have been 4 years ago, something like that. There were no sizes for the bikes, and there were no these balancing bikes with no pedals, at least in Poland. So we had to learn the hard way by just falling down. The seat was too high, the pedals were there, it was all much more difficult. But my dad had even greater challenge when learning to bike, because he had this huge bike. Not even the saddle was too high, but the top tube was too high. So he had to learn to bike riding under the top tube. Can you imagine? You have to kind of swing the bike and then put your like right or left foot under the top tube and then try to learn in that position. Extremely difficult, but possible, because that's how my dad learned riding bicycles. So the times have changed. I wonder if you know anybody who doesn't know how to ride a bike. Okay, 2 more. We talked about Orbea Oiz, or Oiz, some say, but I think we should say Oiz, H30, and the question was, is it worth the money? As I said, the alloy H30 doesn't have a strong character going either to cross-country nor trail riding, but for somebody who wants to ride faster, maybe also quite a few kilometers or miles every week on the tarmac, on the roads, this bike will be fast. It has the remote control for both front and rear suspension, which trail bikes normally don't have. Also, the suspension gives you more support than the trail bike, but it's more comfortable than the cross-country bike. So, but I would say for sportive, marathoning and trailing, it will be fine. But the question was about the price. Yes, I think that budget for about $2,600 is well thought out for those components. Quite good. I'm not sure about that Sunrace cassette, but the bike overall is good. The next question was about Vitus bikes. What do I think about Vitus bikes? If you saw any of my videos, buyer's guides on the e-Seek Biker channel, then you will notice that I do frequently show you Vitus bikes, because they are some of the best value for the money bikes in my opinion. I also follow Jamie's bikes, what they do with their newer bikes, newer models. These are the brands that almost never or even never lead in the industry. They don't come with the lightest frame, the stiffest bottom bracket, the most internal cable routing or anything. They kind of follow, but they give you good quality for good price, just fair price. And so I think, yes, Vitus bikes are one of those. I would recommend checking out Vitus bikes if you're on the budget. Of course, you can buy some more expensive bikes from Vitus, but this is the brand, yes, I would do recommend checking out. And then I was asked about the winter. The winter time is coming. How to protect your bike from the salt which we have on our roads when it's snowing. The rule number one is you never let your bike stay even overnight with a wet drivetrain. Of course, you don't have to dry a whole bike, which takes a couple of more minutes. You might not have time to do this thing every day on your, let's say, commuter bike, but for your drivetrain, you should really take care of it. So what I do, I just take a cloth, spin the pedal backwards, maybe 20 repetitions, and have my chain dry. Then I take some kind of brush for the drivetrain and I clean the cassette. I put a little bit of oil on it so that the cassette will be clean and protected, and then just loop the chain and it will be fine. So these are my tips. You should do same with the fork, with the stanchions. Clean the stanchions, put some lubricant, and then clean again, so that they will be dry from the outside. That will be great for your bike. Never leave it dry. If you could just pressure wash the bike and then dry it every day, that would be great, but who has time for that? Just never let your drivetrain to get rusty when you just keep it somewhere overnight with the salty water on it. That's it for today's podcast. On Friday, we'll see each other with the XT 1x12 drivetrain adjustment, and next week more stuff coming up. Subscribe to the channel and see you soon. Bye bye.